Okay, so since we can see from our side, can we, give me the values for the information regarding question A, the values for
Okay, so the book value is 2 million. That's a long-term debt.
okay. Book value.
It's 2 million.
Wow. $2 million. Then what again?
And then the market value is also 2 million. And the cost is 3.5%.
You are using book value. So what's the equity? Equity is 600,000. 6 million. Short-term debts. It's also 9 yen. Long-term debts. Yeah, so these are the information that we need for the question A. We are using the book value to find the work. So we need the book value, and that is the total of that. So the total of that will be what? 17. That's the total, not the 2 million. So if you pick the 2 million, it's for what? Only what? Long term, and short term is what? 9. Ordinary share or equity is what? 6 million. So when you sum the three up, you get the book value, total book value. I
Can you come again with the what you just said?
We are saying that we should find work using what? Book value. And the table has given us book value, market value, cost of capital for each. Right. So if you want total book value for all the three sources of found. Then we need to find the book value. The book value is the summation of all the sources. 2 million, 9 million, 6 million. When you add them all, you get 17. That's the total. So you are picking the total, which is 17 million. If you are using the book value to find the work, 17 million is the total.
Okay.
Then each of them, you split them using their respective words, book values as their words, values. So these are the information we need to for the I. So our work say that we should find the weight of each of the source, then you multiply by their respective words cost. So since we have equity divided by the book value, the total book value. So that will be your equity plus equity plus So this will be the formula for finding the WACC. So the first one is what? The equity. The E is the value of equity. The VIN is the book value, total book value for the three. And then when it comes to the short term, since this is a debt, the value of short term debts over the total book value times the cost of short term. The cost of short term is the RSTD. Then you also factor in what? Tax. It is a debt, so you need to subtract tax from that. Then you go to the long term. The long term to the the value of long term over the total book value times the cost of what? Long term. Then you factor in also tax from it. So yeah, starting with the value of equity is 6 million to 6M over 70 million 17M times the cost of equity. The cost of equity is 14.5%, which is 0.154. Then move on towards short-term debt. Short-term debt too is 19 million divided by 70 million times the short-term debt, the cost of what's short-term. The cost of short-term debt is 6.8. That one will give us 0.6 0.068. Then you factor in tax. 1 minus the tax is 28 from the question beneath below the table. We have the companies in what? The 28% tax bracket. So the tax is 28 minus 28%, 0.28, 0.028, 0.28. Then we go to the short term, the long term debt. The long term debt to the value is 2 million divided by the total book value, which is 70 million, times the cost of long term debt is 35. That's 5. That one to is 0.035. We factor in tax 1 minus 0.828. So that's how we are going to find it. So someone should punch this and give me the feedback, the answer. The total answer is what? 'Hello'? Hello?
I
What's the final answer?
0.08006.
0.
0.00611
So 8%.
Yeah, sure.
So a work is 8%. That would be what? The A. So using market value. Using the market value. See that the value for the market value is what? 32,000. Equity is also 22,000. Short-term debt. Short-term debt is 8,000. Long-term debt is also equal to 2 the same formula, but we're going to change the figures. The same formula, we're going to change the figures. For Acct now, it is what 22 million. The total is what 32 million. Then the cost will remain the same. When it comes to what the short-term debt, the short-term debt is what 8 million. The total is 32 million. The cost remains the same. The tax also remain the same. Move on to the long-term debt. The long-term debt too is what 2 million, and the total is what 32 million. Multiply by the cost, which is 3.5% minus the tax adjustments. So this one to the what could be what?
0.1135. 1135.
To 11.35%. Okay. C is calculation of overusing target capital. So this one, we need to do some workings before we can get the target capital. So under the table, we said that we have tax 28%, and there's a target debt to equity ratio of 60%. And the short-term debts to long-term debts ratio is also 20%. Right. So that is what you are going to use towards find. You need to find the short-term towards long-term debts ratio, so that we can use it towards find the target profits. So given that debt to equity my Q is not coming. Let me use debt to equity is what 60%. Short-term debt to long-term debt is also equal to 20%. So this is the ratio that they are giving to us. So how do we find the weight of each of them? In order to find the weight of equity, it is the equity divided by the total what value. It is the total value over the value of equity. So if you have the debt to equity ratio to be you have debt towards equity ratio to be 60%. How are we going to find the weight? So given this equation, how are we going to find our debt ratio? So we have to make D the subject. Right. Just will make D the subject. Making D the subject. You get D equals 0.6 E. Are we good here? You want to make the D the subject, so you multiply each side of the equation from this side. So here they give us debt to equity ratio to be what? The total debt to equity ratio is what? Is 60%. That's the target ratio of the company. But as at now, we don't know. Out of the debts, we have what? Short term and what? Long term. So we need to what? Factor the two short-term and long-term debt from here, so that we can get the proportion of our debt, so that we can use it to compute the two separately. So we want to find the rate of what equity and the rate of debt from this 60%. So making, if this is the ratio that they are giving to us, then we need to factor in debt from that, because this is the ratio, so that debt to what equity ratio is equal to 60%. So how do we find or find the debt ratio? To get the debt ratio, it is you multiplying each side of the equation by E, so that we can get the debt ratio. So if this is the case, we can go ahead and use the formula to find the equity. So this is the formula to find equity. And the vein over there is what? Equity plus what? Equity plus what? Equity plus D to get the total, which is the equity plus the T plus plus D. So you have to what? Intersect the D over where we can find the D. Wherever we see D, you add the D. We add. So the D is what? 0.6 E. I equals is supposed to be what E. So if you have this equation, when we expand it, if we expand this equation, E alone means that the coefficient of E is what? Is 1. So when you expand this equation, you get what? 1. You get 1.6 E. 1.6 C. So it will be what? E over 1.6 C. Then if you subtract, you cancel the E out of that, you are going to get what? You're going to get 1 over what? 1.6, which will give us 1 over 1.6 will give us what? Hello. 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 Hello.
We are here. Oh.
1 over 1.6 is 0.625. So now this is the what? The weight of what? The weight of equity that you'll be using to find the what? The work. So if this is the weight of only what? Equity, then we need to what? Find the weight for debt. Right. Mind you, this equation means that this debt to equity ratio means that when we add the total what? Debt and equity, their what? Their weight, it should be 60% of the total what? Firm's what? Ratio. So we need to find equity, the weight of what? Equity, and that of what? Debt. When you compute the debt weight out of this 60%, we know that now debt, we have two types. We have what? We have short-term debt and what? Long-term debt. So the debt that we are going to find, we are also going to stroke it by the what? The 20%. We're going to share it by the 20%. So that will be the another working that we are also going to do. So now we know that debt, weight of debt plus the weight of debt is equal to what? 1 or what? 100%. So either it's what? 1 or 100%. Why? So if the weight of debt plus weight of what? Equity is what? Always equal to 1 or what? 100%. Then we have what? Weight of equity to be what? 0.625. Then what will be our what? Our weight of what? Debt. So making the change of subject, say that the weight of what debt will be what equals to what 1 minus 0.625, giving us 0.375. So now this is the weight of what debt. Also, so now this is the weight of what debt also. Right. So this one will be, you will need this one in the future. So let's take note of that. Yes. So now we need to also work out with the the 20% for the short term and long term debts. You need this value to in computing the short term. So that one to the short term, say that the short term debt plus long term debt, long term debt is also equal to 1. It's equal to total debt. Why? It's equal to total debt. The total debt is this that you have computed, right? So that means that you are going to need this one to compute the respective debt that you have. So that one to be an equation for us. Now looking at their ratio, we are giving us 20%. So if the ratio of debt, short-term and long-term debt is giving us 20%, right? Giving us 20%. Short-term is towards long-term. Long-term debt is equal to 20%, or let me do it 0.2%. What is the short-term rate? What will be if you want to find the rate of the rate of each of them, if you want to find the rate of short-term debt is going to be now going to be this. short-term debt. Right. So that is the rate of short-term debt. So out of this, you have to also establish the same thing that we did for the debt to equity ratio. So out of this, ratio that they are giving to us in the question, you need to find the short-term portion of that. So in doing so, or better still, we can say the long-term debt. The same thing. So let's also compute the short-term ratio. The value for what? Let's find the value for what? Long-term debt, so that we can use it to find the rate for long term. So if you are dividing each side of the equation, if you divide each side of the equation by long-term debt, you are going to get short-term debt to be 0.2 long-term debt. Are you okay? So this one will give us the value for short-term debts. Since we have our value for short-term debt, we can insert it into the general formula to find the rate of long-term debt. So doing so, we are going to get this. Right, going to get something like this. So wherever you see short-term debts, you put your 0.2 LTD. Then you expand it expand it to be with this. So in expanding it, we are seeing that the LTD, this one, is standing alone. So if it's a standing alone, the coefficients of long-term debt is what? Is 1. You see, it's 1. So we are going to get what? 1.2 STD. Yeah, LTD. 1.2 what? LTD. 1.2 LTD. Now, right, I'm going to get 1.2. Then the LTD, long-term debt, will cancel themselves out. So we are going to get a final answer as 1.1 over 1 over what? 1.2 Yeah. So in decimal, what will be the value for what? The value for the weight of what? Short-term debt. So 1 over what? 1.2. 1 over 1.2 to give us 0.833. So this is the weight of what? Long-term debt out of the total, which is what? So we need to what? Also find the weight of this is the weight of what? Short-term debt. So we need to find the total. We need to find the actual. This is the percentage of what? Percentage of what? The two. But this is the total. So if this is the total, to find the what? The actual distance, actual weight, then we have to what? Stroke it by the what? 0.375, so that we can get the what? The actual what? Weight. So this equation, the T D is the what? Is the 0.37, right? Yeah. So to get the what? The actual weight for long-term debt, it is going to be the percentage 0.3833 multiplying the total weight of debts 0.375. So in doing that, what will be the total weight now? That will give us 0.0 0.833 times 0.375, giving us 0.315. 3125. So now this is the what? The actual weight for what? Long-term debt. Long-term debt. Now, out of that, so out of this equation, so this equation 2, this equation 2 is the what? The total debt is what? This 0.375. So now that we have our what? Long-term debt portion, we can do what? Change of subject to what? Find the short-term debt too. So short-term debt, making short-term debt the what? The subject of this from this equation. We can also find the short-term debt to be what? 0.375 minus 0.3125, giving us what? Giving us 0.0625. So this will also be the rate of what? Short-term debt. Short-term debt. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Please, are we on board?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so now we have been able to compute the various weights that we need to use in the formula. Now we have the weight of equity also to be this, that of the short term and long term. So now we can confidently go use the formula now. The cost, we have all the costs in the question. The only thing that we were not given is the weight of the equity, short term and long term. But since we have been able to determine them, can now use the formula now. So permit me to copy the formula. Okay, so we are starting with the what? The equity. The equity, all these things will be replaced by the weight of what? Equity. So all these things. So these things, it is the weight. So let me do it WE. All these things, we are going to replace them by what? Their weight of what? Short term debt. All these things, weight of long term debt. Right? Yeah. So when you see me inserting them, don't be confused. Zero, the weight for what? The short term debt was 0.625, and that of the short term debt is also that of the long term short term debt was also 0.035. and that of the long-term debt, it was also the long-term debt is short-term debt was rather okay. Short-term debt is 0. Short-term is rather that. Short-term. So this one is rather 0.035. Long-term. And the short-term is 625. So this is the, yeah. Are we on board? Short-term debt, long-term debt. Yeah, so that's fine. No, this one is the wrong figure. Three, 1, 2, 5. Yeah, so now it's perfect. Someone should punch it and give me the final answer. Hello.
Hi.
With final answer. Hello.
Hi. Please, you are coming.
I heard someone is hands up is up. Please, if you have a question, you can talk. I'm sharing the screen. I cannot see the screen. So if you have any question, you can talk. Be the one who raised their hand should kindly speak. Hello.
Hello, sir. Please. The answer is 0.101.
Come again.
0.101
Come again.
326.
Compute
Zero.
the value.
Sorry.
Compute the values again.
Okay, 0.1435.
0.
1435.
Really 1435.
Yes, please.
The other one said that it's what?
Yeah,
The
that is
first one
0.101326.
0.12101.
101. Yeah, 326.
By this.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Wow. Let me check. Please, can someone confirm the values again?
Okay, okay, mine. I think I missed a figure. So actually, I've gotten a different figure though. The different figure I've gotten is 0.10156.
Perfect. That's what I also had.
Okay, so I think that's the right figure.
So it's 10.15% or 10.16%. Yeah, so 10.16%. Yeah. So question D. So what is the difference between wax? Which is the correct wax to use for project evaluation? Yeah, I said someone said that we wanted to ask a question or tested me on WhatsApp. Please, if you are here, you can speak since you are almost done. Hello.
So I'm sure the person dropped because initially we were 6. I'm seeing only 4 now.
Okay. So the D, what do you think is causing the difference between the wax that we have computed? Your reasons. Let's share ideas. Which one do you think we should use for project evaluation? Why the difference between the wax?
Yeah, hello sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the differences in the wax, per my understanding, is telling you or giving you a clear picture on which of the cost of capitals to go for the project, which one will be more convenient in terms of using it and in terms of getting the project done. So the one with the more as in
The one with
the one more being advantageous than the other in terms of its usage or something like that.
so based on the three, which one do you think the companies will use and why?
I joined a few minutes ago, so I didn't really follow from the beginning. So I don't know which one is more convenient.
So the first one we had
It was 8%. The first one was 8.
that's the market the book value. The book value cost of work was 8%. The market was 11.35%. Then target capital structure rate is also 10.50. So these are the WACCs. Markets was 11.5. Book value 8%. Target capital structure is what? 10.15. 16%. Yeah, so these are the values for the various source valuation. The market value was 11.35, book value was 8%, target capital structure 10.50, 16%. Which one do you think we should use for project evaluation?
It should be the market value.
Why?
Hello, sir. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll say for the market value too as well, because the market value is currently using the current market prices of on the market, or the current value, the current cost of capital on the market. But when you look at the book value, is using maybe historical data, and where depreciation and other things um, have come in, or something like that. So for me, I'll go for the market value, because it's using current market rates or something.
Any other suggestion? So perfect. The market value is based on what current estimations in the market, and the market value too is what is objective because it is current. It's based on what current data, right, in the market. But the book value, that book value is what? It's an accounting estimate. So it relies on what historic what data, which is that it's factor in a lot of concepts. So we cannot, since it's what subjective, book value is subjective. It's based on what historical, we rely on old data to what get the data and all that. So if we are going in for evaluation or project something, we cannot use an accounting policy that is what historic in nature, factor in depreciation and all that. So if you want the actual value, we cannot get. We will have to go through a whole lot of process and all that before we cannot get that value. As well as the words capital structure, it's also subjective. It's something we are, planning towards. We are targeting that our book value, our debt to equity ratio should be what 6%. We are planning. It is subjective. It could change. You cannot get the actual 60% that we are planning, the company is planning, right? So in terms of project evaluation and all that, to get the best results and all that, the best one you can use is the market value, since that is what objective. It reflects current market conditions and all that as at today. So the best work to use is the market value. It gives us a cost of 11.35% in that. So yeah, so that will be the answer for that. So when you choose, then you offset it with the reason why we are choosing and why we are not choosing this and all that. So that's how we are going to answer the D parts of that question. Yeah. Please, any question?
Melissa, please, will you kindly drop the solutions to the chat so that we can have it, please?
I've recorded the session, so I have to do some editing before.
Okay, so please, where can I get a recording?
Yeah, when I'm done, I'll send it.
All right, thank you.
So is it going to be on your Telegram official page or where, please?
I don't have the Telegram listing. I will not put it there. I'll post it to the listing. YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because of time, we cannot solve the B and C. We should do some. Yeah. So the B, Keynes met company has a debt equity ratio of 45%. They require return on companies on leverage on geared equity is 17%, and the pre-tax cost of the firm's debt is 9%. Sales revenue for the company is expected to remain stable indefinitely at last year's level of That's 23,500,000 euros. Variable cost amounts to 60% of sales. The tax rate is 28%. The company distribution or its earnings as dividends at the end of each year. What is if the company were financed by equity, how much would it be worth? So the A said I should find out the cost of what? Cost of capital
Hello.
using what? I.
I think because due to time, it's almost 5 o'clock, and because it is midnight, we may be logged out when it is 5. So can we please continue tomorrow with a B?
Oh, okay.
Because that's left with, I think, 8 minutes to 5. So I
We are
think
not solving
sure.
everything. We're only solving maybe A or something.
okay, fine.
So the B, how are we going to solve it? How do we find the cost? If only what equity, so we need to find the cost of the company using only equity. So if only equity, we use the what? We use the sales, then the variable cost. So the sales value is what? 23.5 million. Then we also factor in the variable cost. That will be the worth of the firm. That will be what the firm worth. Then after we have gotten that, we now adjust with what tax. We adjust with what the tax. It's 28%. Then there is also what equity, return on equity on that is also 17%. So we factor all these things out to find the value of the equity. So first of all, you need to find the cash flows. When you find the cash flows, then you divide by the rates. which is what? 70%. To find the cash flows, it is the sales revenue. Then you adjust for what? Variable costs. Then you deduct more tax from it. You deduct the tax from it. You get the what? The actually the what? The cash flows for that. So you get that cash flow, you then adjust, divide by what? The value. Right. Yeah, so that's how we are going to solve for the A portion. So if there's no question, we will end here. What we need to know, you meet.
Hello, sir. So
Yeah.
to get the equity, mean that's going to be 60% of the sales figure. Then
Yeah,
you deduct it from the actual sales.
yeah,
Before then you apply the 28% of the tax rate.
yeah,
Okay, before you come and do 17% of the after tax.
yeah. You divide that value by the 17%. The after tax value, you divide it by what? The 70%.
And that gives you the equity.
Yeah, so it's the sales value. Say that the sales, 60% of it is variable cost, right? 60% of the what? The sales revenue, 60% of it is what? Variable cost. Do you get it? So we need to what? Subtract, find a percentage of 60% of the total sales value. Then you subtract that from. That means that out of this, let's say it's 100%. If it is 100%, 60% is variable cost. So that means that 40% of this figure is what? Sales
The
revenue.
actual sales.
Yeah. So when you find the 60%, you subtract it from this. Then you get the actual sales. You stroke it by the tax rate.
Tax rate.
Then that amount that you get, you divide by the 60%, 17% to get the what? The equity.
Okay.
Yeah. Any question?
Okay, so we are dividing because it is the debt to equity ratio.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll continue the reading tomorrow.
Okay, so go with it tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.